So you can't just want something. You have to want something and be in action towards getting it, right? Hey guys, it's so good to see you. Thanks for watching. You know what? I want to connect to you and I want to connect with you and I want to know more about you. So do me a favor in the comment section below, just write and tell me how you feel. I want to engage with you. I want to acknowledge you. I want to see you and I want you to know that you're being heard. I'm not a mind reader yet in this lifetime. So please help me by writing something in the comment section below. Don't forget to like this video. Don't forget to subscribe and share and tell all of your friends about the connections that you're making, and I will see ya on the flip side. Hey guys, it's Terry. So great to see you. How's your heart today? How is your heart? I hope it's well and lovely, and if it's not, that's okay too. Just know that wherever you are right now, you're okay, because where you are is where you are, and where you are is okay. And learning to accept where we are at any given point in our adventure and navigating our way through this human experience allows us to actually move forward instead of stay stuck. So let's do our best, no pressure of course, to just accept where we are. Acceptance is an amazing frequency to receive. And speaking of receiving, I wanted to share with you the exercise and the, for all intents and purposes, ritual that I do for harnessing the energy of the new moon. So as we know, the moon goes through phases, right? Typically it's about a 29.5, 30-day phase, right? Now the moon affects water, right? We have the tides that come in and come out, right? The moon affects the water. We humans are, I think we're at least 75% made of water. We're probably higher. I don't know the exact numbers, but we are water. The water helps the electricity that our brain puts out. It helps us battery ourselves. So we are affected by the phases of the moon, right? The tides are, so are we. So I did a video for you guys already on the full moon and what energy you can harness from the full moon and the ritual that I use for the full moon. So I wanted to show you what I do for the new moon, because one of the things that I have found in doing a lot of my practice is that I don't follow rules and regulations. I go rogue. I do what I feel I need to do, which is really my authenticity and my truth, right? Because what works for me doesn't necessarily work for somebody else. So I want to show you what I do just so you can see examples of what something you might want to do or create for yourself. Now, I'm all about harnessing the energy and I'm all about using energy to navigate my way through this human experience, right? So that's where I'm always coming from whenever I share anything with you guys. So the new moon, the phase of the new moon, what's going on with the new moon is that there's no light being shined on it from the sun at all. So it's considered a dark moon, okay? So when you go outside and it's a new moon, you may not actually see the moon. It's like, right? Where a full moon is big and bright and light. And what new moons do is they make you go inside. Right? They, when something is dark, you have a tendency to just commune with yourself and you go deep and you get to reflect within yourself. Whereas with the big bright moon, you're like all about letting it go and releasing. So new moon energy is about going inside so that you can create and bring forth something. So it's the abundant part of the cycle, where we receive, right? Now, here's the thing about receiving and bringing in abundance and manifestation and all of that is like you have to feel worthy enough to do it. You just have to. So if you're not feeling worthy enough to receive, you're going to be in resistance. You're going to always find excuses. You're going to immobilize. You're going to fight your way. You're going to run away from shit, or you're going to try and people please and just try way too hard to get what you want. Those are all the survival responses that you're going to do if you're not feeling worthy enough to receive. So what this new moon does actually is, if you are going to harness its energy and work with it, it's going to give you an opportunity to always take a look at yourself and say, what are my signals? What am I broadcasting right now? Because of course, everything around us will be a reflection of what we're broadcasting, what energy we are emitting. Yes. So it gives us an opportunity to say, okay, these are the things that I want to plant. These are the seeds that I want to plant. These are the things that I want to bring forth. I want to manifest. These are my wishes, my dreams, desires. These are the projects I want to build. This is the relationship I want to create. This is the money that I want to bring in. I want to work on my health, blah, 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 blah. So it's all about setting the intention. Of course, we remember intention is a desire plus an action. So you can't just want something. You have to want something and be in action towards getting it, right? So the intention of the new moon is planting the seeds for receiving, right? So what is it that you want? Basically, what is it that you want? So what I love about the new moon, I personally, my preference is new moon, harnessing energy versus not old moon, excuse me, full moon. I don't know where old moon came from, other than it's the opposite and counterpoint of new moon. Thank you, polarity and duality of the third dimension physical reality. You totally showed up. Full moon, full moon, full moon. I prefer the energy of new moon because it helps me keep myself in check. It helps me keep myself in alignment. Not that full moon doesn't also have those benefits, but the full moon is almost the culmination of the new moon. So we always start with the new moon. In terms of my videos, I showed you full moon first and then new moon. And that's because I was in the energy of full moon when I was recording. Just like right now, I'm in the energy of new moon. So I wanted to be able to not only, show this information to you, but also energetically send through the ethers new moon energy for you as well. And probably the biggest thing about harnessing the new moon energy is understanding and realizing your worthiness to receive. You are here, you count, you matter, and you're enough just by showing up in a human earth suit. Yes, yes, yes. So why not receive some good shit? You're enough. You're totally enough. You're good enough, pretty enough, sexy enough, worthy enough, all of the enoughs, right? So I'm going to show you what I do, and I tap into how I do all of these things. And I do these things through physical ways of harnessing the energy. Now, that's what witchcraft is all about. Witchcraft and pagan rituals and Wiccan rituals. It's about using tangible physical products of the 3D physical world in order to bring out or evoke that energetic side of us. Because of course, human beings are made of matter and energy, right? So, we live in this physical 3D world where what we see, what we smell, what we taste, what we touch, we think is real. Right? It's not necessarily real. So we have to find ways to take ourselves out of current reality so that we can surpass that and get into understanding and noticing and seeing and trusting that there's more than what the eye sees. For example, Wi-Fi signals. You don't see that shit. You don't taste that. You don't touch it, but it exists and it's viable, right? So that's what working with tools, with witchcraft, with herbs, with candles, with fire, water, all the elements, earth, air, that's what it does for us humans, is it allows us to surpass reality and physicality. So I showed you guys what I do for my full moon. Now I'm going to show you how I do my new moon stuff. So you're going to want to get paper and pen. And again, this is the way I do it. I'm not necessarily traditional. So if you want more traditional information, you can always look it up. But I am not traditional. Nothing I do is traditional. when it comes to this work. I am breaking a lot of conditionings of ancestral stuff, but that's a whole other video. But I go rogue. I do what is good for me in my authenticity. So if I show you anything that I'm doing right now that does not feel right to you, do not take it. Anything, anytime, any healer, witch, astrologer, psychic medium says anything to you, if it doesn't sit right, you don't take that information. Can we have that agreement, please? Namaste. All right, so here's the first step. What you're gonna wanna do, again, we're tapping into the frequency of bringing in and bringing forth. What are some of the things that you want to bring in and bring forth, right? So you're gonna want to write them down as a list. So I'm going to take a break right now and I'm going to write down my list. Okay, guys, here's an example of my list, okay? It's not terribly long. It's not terribly short. I mean, there have been new moons where I've listed a shit ton of stuff where it was like pages and pages. It's whatever, is best and good for you. So don't feel like it has to be a minimal amount or a maximum amount. It doesn't matter. It's about what it is that you want to feel worthy enough to receive or build or create, right? So that's going to be the first step that you're going to want to do. So when you do that, try and really feel into what it feels like if you were to accomplish. Like, for example, my first one is more self-love, right? So as I'm writing this, I'm really feeling, what does it feel like for me to have more self-love? What is it that I desire by having more self-love, right? And just really feel into it. It's a really individual thing. It's very practical, pragmatic approach as well. And clearly it doesn't cost a lot of money, right? I'm just using what kind of notebook is this? It's just a spiral notebook and a pen. Look, if you want this to be fancy pants, you can. There are some people who are really into beauty and very girly stuff and glitter and all that stuff. You can totally do that. I'm just not that girl. I'm like, let's just get right to it. This is what I want, So I use pen and paper, really cheap, spiral notebook. But, feel free to use, make this a ritual, make this special for yourself. So you can use scented paper. You can be like, God, what was that character in Legally Blonde? I forgot her name. Elle from Legally Blonde, where she gave her resume in scented paper. Do that. Make this a really lovely thing. I just tend to be more practical and pragmatic about it in my approach. So that's the first step. The second step you're going to want to do is you're going to want to create yourself a check for abundance. So stand by for that. I'm going to show you how to do that. Okay, I don't know any human being on planet Earth who isn't in some way either desiring more money, needing more money, or choosing to have more money. Now, we all know money isn't everything, but money can give us life experience, good health, and just really help us make really amazing memories. So there is no reason for us to really fear money or dislike money. I mean, if you do, you do. I don't want to, discount how you feel in your own personal relationship with money. But for the purpose of this harnessing of energy exercise, we're going to request some money, honey. So once again, take your handy dandy notebook and I'm going to show you what we're going to do. We're going to create, and again, I'm all about practicality, pragmaticism. This doesn't have to cost a lot of money. If you want it to look pretty, if you want it to do any of those things, if you want it to look a certain way, you can do it. I'm just not that girl. So I do it. I'm just showing you what I do. So I'm going to change the camera angle for just a second so you can see what I'm doing. Now, of course, it might be upside down and I will show you the end result. But what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to create a check for abundance made out to you, given to you by the abundant universe. And you're going to write out in the memo section what you want this money to be for. Now, here's the trick to this. There's so many times, I don't know if you notice this, like during your month, you're paying your monthly bills or whatnot, and you have all these unexpected and unknown expenses, right? we want to make sure that we are covered for that. We want to make sure that we are covered for everything, not just our needs and wants, but all of the knowns and unknowns. Yes. So have the intention of making sure you cover that. Remember, energy is intention, and how you use your intention is how you're using your energy. And the whole idea of this is to harness the energy of the new moon. So let me show you how you're going to write your check. Okay, guys, here's my spiral notebook. You can start off with any side if you want to start here or here. I don't care. It doesn't really matter. Again, it's about intention, not perfectionism, okay? So you're going to take your pen and you're going to write the date. Now, the day that I'm recording this is actually August, is it the 19th or 18th? I think it's the 19th. Well, it is now, 2020. See, I even make mistakes. What would you do in a real life check? You would correct it, right? You guys can't see that. Here, can you see that? So I just dated it. Let's see, let me get this more in frame. There we go. Okay, so you're gonna date it. I made a mistake here, so I corrected it, and I'm treating this as if this is real money, people. That's my intention. This is a real live check that's gonna have real live results, okay? So here's my date. The date, this is today, happens to be new moon in Leo when I'm recording this for you guys. So who's the check made out to, right? So to me, I always make it out to myself. I also make it out to my business. And I also write it out to my birth name, because a lot of my legal documentation and all that is based on my birth name. So my nickname is actually Terry. My birth name is Therese. My business is T.S. Huberman Inc. This is where I want all of my money to go to. This is my intention. Okay. So then we're going to write the amount. How much do I want? Right? So I always say paid in full. Because the universe knows, just like a real check, right? The universe knows exactly how much I'm gonna need for all of my intentions and desires, right? So if you put in a certain amount, you absolutely can. But since I write these every month, I want all of my bills paid in full with money to spare for all the knowns and unknowns, okay? So that's my intention. That's how I do it. If your intention is to make $1 million, well, then you can try that. But the intention should be doable and reasonable as well, okay? So here's the memo section, right? So I always write, this is where you're like, what do you need the money for? So this is where I immediately say for all known and unknown expenses, right? And then I say for bills paid in full. I also write for travel, because these are the things I love to do, for clothes, shoes, accessories, because I'm a girl. I may be pragmatic and practical, but I'm still female. I always put, since I'm dating and I'm single, so I put for dating expenses, right? I always write for fun memories too, because I want to create fun memories. Okay, if there's anything specific that you want or need, you can definitely add that to the memo section, okay? And then lastly, it is signed by the abundant universe. Okay? So this is your abundance check. Does not look fancy-pantsy. Very pragmatic, very practical, but it is written with a lot of intention, okay? Now, if I was writing this alone and I wasn't recording this, I would probably take more time to actually feel into each one of these things. And perhaps I might have another, a few more that I would write, but I can't think of it off the top of my head because, of course, I'm concerned more about you guys than me right now. So there's nothing fancy pants about this, okay? But this is the energy. This is part of the energy that we want to harness. And look how easy it is. Boom. Done. All right, guys. So far you can see that this is a really simple, easy, very cheap, inexpensive process, right? So you have your list and you have your mock check, right? So there are some people who will actually burn this right now for new moon, but I actually started doing things differently because it started to feel like, well, what was best for me? Like, what am I doing? So typically the period between the new moon and the full moon is called the waxing phase, where there's no moon, right? The new moon, dark moon, it's like empty, supposedly. And then it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. So it waxes bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger till it grows to its fullest, most juiciest, fattest size when it crests at the full moon. So during that process, as the moon gets more and more pregnant, ready for delivery on full moon, right? So as it grows and builds, the energy is growing and building as well. So what I decided to do was not actually release my checks or my list during that time because I want it to build the energy so that I can release it on full moon and let it go. And that's when everything gets birthed, okay? So what I do is I just fold these guys up, right? I'm just gonna fold them up. Nothing fancy pants here. And I have a very high-tech envelope, as you can see. Yes, a very high-tech envelope that I put and I keep and I put it on my altar. And you know what? If you guys want, I'll show you that. I don't mind showing you that. I'll show you my altar in just a second. So I just put it inside my handy dandy, very fancy carrying case for full moon. And then I place it on my altar. So let me show you my altar. Come with me. Let me show you my altar. I hope that angle-wise it's good. I don't know if you guys can see that, but this is my altar. I hope my editor doesn't get pissed off at me because I may not be in the correct frame. But so then all I'm gonna do is take my take my fancy pants carrying case for all my new moon stuff, and I'm just gonna put it, I don't know if you guys can see it, I'm gonna put it right there in his head. That's where I keep it. And then I just keep it there for, let's see, how long do I keep it there for? Well, just until full moon. And that's my process. So at the full moon is where I'll burn everything. I'll do candles. Sometimes I do candle magic where I'll carve into candles. I'll do a video on that for you guys. And that's when I release everything and let go. And I also write another list of all the things that no longer are serving me, that I want to release from my energetic field. But for the new moon, to me, what's so beautiful is it allows me to check in with myself to see, okay, where am I standing mentally, emotionally, physically, spiritually, and even financially because of this financial aspect. So I say to myself, okay, here's an opportunity for me to tap into myself to go, okay, I want to remind myself that I am worthy enough to receive. And here's the thing is when you're worthy enough to receive, it's so easy for you to give and be of service as well. So it helps me help you when I do all of this stuff. So clearly it doesn't have to be expensive. You can create it any way that you want. There are more things that you can do than just what I showed you, but I have a tendency to just let's make shit easy in life. Let's just get to the bottom line. Let's just do it. There's no wrong way to do it as long as you're doing it authentically to yourself and your own truth. And as long as it feels right and resonates to you, there's just, listening to all of this stuff about, oh, you got to do things this way, that way. Listen, excuse me, it's even hard for me to talk about. My throat chakra was just I have had some shitty coaches that I've worked with. Coaches who were narcissistic and assholes. Yeah, I'm just going to say it. who didn't actually have my best interest. I thought they did, but they didn't. So I had to still rely and depend on myself, right? And that's what we always have to do. We're the only ones that can take care of our own selves. We're the only ones who truly love us and will be there for us every moment of the day. We cannot rely on people outside of us. So this is a way for you to connect to yourself. And you know what I'm always saying to you guys? Come on, you know me by now, yeah? Stay connected. Humans are wired for connection. And when we are connected to other people or connected to ourselves or the divine, we feel safe in this world so that we can live our purpose, give our message, right? So that's why I'm always saying stay connected. And that's what I love about this ritual in particular, is that it allows me to connect to myself. And I can remind myself that, yes, I am worthy enough to receive. I am worthy enough to receive everything that I could ever want. Now, how long it takes for me to manifest that, that's a whole other video we'll do. But, you can't go from here to here. There is a gap that needs to close, yes? So this is just part of the process of closing the gap, really understanding and knowing and using the energy of the moon phases. Remember, we're water, so it does affect us. All right, you guys, so stay connected. Stay connected to your family and friends. Stay connected to yourself. And of course, you can stay connected to me if you'd like to work with me. I'm happy to work with you. I would love nothing more than to work with you. I appreciate each and every one of you watching this. Thank you so much. Please feel free to subscribe, like, share this video, comment below, and I'll see you guys on the flip side. Yeah?